This video is for the grade 12 biology. In grade 12 biology, we have 4 units. Unit 1 is ecology, Unit 2 is population, Unit 3 genetics, and Unit 4 evolution. For Unit 2 on population, this video tries to take out main points about the population discussions or notes and simplify them or pick them out in the summarized form to make it easy for studies. So for that purpose, you have this unit divided into a number of points. The first point here is population facts. These are some things that we have to know about population. Under population facts, we have 3 points indicated by arrows. The first one is the definition of population. Is defined in terms of biology as number of individuals and that of a same species living in the same place and at the same time in population. And the next fact is that number of individuals over time they change. So it says population does not remain steady. And that's about the size of the population. It either increases or decreases as time goes on. And the next point is about population spread. When the population is in a place, it does not spread out evenly throughout the habitat or the place they are living in. Some places there will be crowding, some places there will be few or scattered. That's the facts of population. The population is spread unevenly throughout the habitat and also does not remain steady for a long time. These are the facts of population. The next point is on population fluctuation, and population fluctuation includes growth, that's an increase in size, or when the population decreases, there's a decline, is also a change. So fluctuation is about population change. So population, as we have said, does not remain steady. These are population fluctuations and are caused by 3 important factors. One is the death rate, the number of people or children born in the total population every year and are living. And the death rate is the total number that is dying in a year for that population. And the net migration in the population for especially animals and even plants, but plants don't really move. Migration is to do with movement. So plants, it's only the death and the growth, but for animals, the migration is for animals to move into the habitat and out of the habitat. So the total number of animals moving in and moving out, when you subtract them, you get a net migration. So that net migration is the total of animals that are moving in and out, that eventually the difference that is found living in that place and adding to the population, that is net migration. So these are the 3 factors that cause the change in the population size. The population fluctuation is actually talking about the number of individuals, but that change is for the population. That's the second point. So we are breaking down into main points: the population facts, the population fluctuation, and next thing is also about the factors influencing population growth. But the factors there is not only for growth, it's also the factors that can cause decline too. So food availability, yes, that's one factor that can cause increase in the population. 2, is disease. So disease will cause decline in the population. Lack of space is a factor that causes decline. Overcrowding is a factor that can cause decline. Disease outbreak, it can cause decline. Competition for food or mate, that's also a decline. War and predation are also factors that cause decline, and toxic waste accumulation is also one of the factors for causing decline. Actually, food availability and the opposite of disease instead of no disease, there is lack of space. The opposite of it, when there is plenty of space, when there is less overcrowding. Okay, these are the things will give a conducive environment for population increase or growth. So like competition for food. When there is no competition for food, that's a condition for our population growth. So that factor will influence population growth. So these are the factors. That's the third part. And the fourth part is about the types of population and population growth represented on graphs or curves. The population types or population growth, types of population growth, there are two main ones. One is exponential growth, and that growth shows a J kind of a curve when it is shown in the graph. And the next one is called logistic growth. It shows a S kind of a curve. So the diagrams of these two graphs are here. The first one is an exponential growth curve. That's like a letter J. If you see its nature of growth, it starts slowly, and once it comes to a certain time, the population has a steep increase. That's like quick increase, and it's steadily going on without changing. This kind of population growth is normally what happens in controlled conditions like in laboratories, but not in nature. In nature, you will always find some things that will move in to disturb the continuous increase rate like this. So that's an exponential curve. But the logistic curve is what happens naturally. When organisms move into a new area, when there is plenty of food and not enough enemies or predators and disease, for the first they will start to grow slowly, and until the number of individuals for reproduction age picked up, that's the time they start to increase from a small band to sub increase, and then to a point where it stops, and then it flattens out. The time when the population number flattens out, that is known as its carrying capacity of the place. It can only support only certain number of individuals or population. The environment, food resource, or maybe the space is enough for a certain number. It cannot continue to take in more of that. That's a normal population growth curve in the natural environment. The natural environment, you will always find a population growth like of a logistic growth, and the curve that represents this looks like a letter S. So they call this S curve at some times. So these are two different types of population growth. And the last ones are the population distribution. From the facts, we learn that population does not evenly distribute throughout the habitat. So the population distribution, there are three kinds of population distribution. We have uniform, random, and clumped. So the diagrams on the other side. So what is uniform? Individuals are scattered all over the space of the location or habitat, evenly distributed. And random, few individuals are scattered and not really even, but are scattered throughout the habitat. Clamped, if you look at clamped, individuals crowding over in certain areas and some places within the habitat are left without occupying them. So that's a clamped kind of distribution of population. So we have population distribution, and there are three different types: uniform, random, and clamped. The last is about population distribution, and when the distribution happens, you will then find the density within a given space. How many individuals are living, that makes up the density. So the density is I if in a given area there are more or plenty of individuals of the same population living in the species. But if there are few and the space is big, it could take more, but few are living in there. That is a low population density. There are a lot of available free spaces. And with high population density, they could be very low. There would be many individuals kind of packed together in one place, and the space is not really free. That is what high population density is. In a small space, many individuals are trying to squeeze or live in there. So these are basically 6 major points. We have started from population facts, coming to population fluctuation. It's often including growth and decline. And then the third point is about factors influencing the population growth or decline. And you have all these factors listed that cause increase and decline in the population size. And the population size is, but the growth especially is represented in graphs, and there are 2 types which I have already shown. These are exponential growth with a curve like a J, letter J shaped curve, and with logistic growth, that is a graph like this that gives us a shape of a letter S. And this population distribution has got 3 population distribution types, and the diagrams show how the 3 distribution or population distribution types could be represented like this. And this is population density. In our next video, we'll be looking at human population and pyramids for different countries, the developed and the developing nations. Let's get around to the next point when it is out. Thank you for watching.